Have you ever wondered why some of the largest corporations, once symbols of the American economy, are gradually leaving their homeland? In 2025, a significant shift is quietly happening that few are paying attention to. 6 major names, companies we've always associated with the image of America, are deciding to pack up and seek a new home. What's really going on? Why are these companies, with their immense economic power, choosing to leave the land that nurtured them for so many years? One reason could be that production costs are no longer competitive. Import policies, especially aluminum tariffs, have pushed companies like Coca-Cola, Alcoa, and General Motors to look for new markets to lower their production costs. But is it as simple as that? Or is something deeper happening within the political and economic systems of the US? These companies aren't heading to distant countries. Their next destination is Canada, a country known for its stable political environment, lower taxes, and transparent business practices. Is this shift simply a strategic economic decision, or does it reflect a deeper loss of faith in the systems and policies of the US? And among all these names, there's one final company, one you might not expect, that could truly make you reflect. Coca-Cola, a name synonymous with the American summer, the red and white cans, and childhood memories of joy, is now at a significant crossroads. We've always associated Coca-Cola with the American identity, but have we noticed the quiet shift happening in 2025? Coca-Cola's story is not just about familiar soda cans. It is a sign of a larger trend affecting the entire American manufacturing industry. For decades, Coca-Cola has been a symbol of success in US manufacturing. However, in 2025, an inevitable shift began. Rising production costs, supply chain disruptions, and economic instability have put Coca-Cola in a difficult position. The company relies heavily on aluminum to produce billions of cans each year. But when the US imposed tariffs on aluminum imports from Canada, coupled with domestic supply chain interruptions, the price of aluminum surged uncontrollably. Faced with 2 hard choices, either accept losses or seek an alternative solution, Coca-Cola had no option but to look elsewhere to maintain production. And that place was Canada. These moves weren't accompanied by grand announcements or dramatic headlines. Instead, they signaled a quiet, strategic shift. Coca-Cola has discreetly moved part of its production lines to Ontario, where packaging plants are supplied by aluminum from Quebec. This may seem like a small move, but it signifies something much larger. As factories in the US slow down, jobs gradually disappear, and soon, those Made in America soda cans could soon carry the label Made in Canada. This change is not just about shifting production geography. It's a shift in how Coca-Cola is adapting to a new economic environment. What is it that's causing Coca-Cola, a symbol of an era and American industry, to consider leaving its homeland? How can tariff policies and broken supply chains push a giant like Coca-Cola to seek another country? And will Canada, with its lower production costs and stable political environment, become the ideal destination for other large corporations? Could this change signal a different future for American manufacturing, where big companies no longer feel safe within the US? And if Coca-Cola, a traditional symbol of America, must also pivot, what can we expect from other industries in the near future? This shift may not only impact one brand, but it could also mark a profound change in the economy and identity of the United States. The question now is, are we ready to face these changes, or will we continue to let the major icons of American industry search for new shores? And could this be a sign of a global shift, where companies are no longer just seeking profits, but must ensure sustainability and long-term growth in an ever-changing economic landscape? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to follow these fascinating stories of change and to stay updated on what the future holds for American industries. When Alcoa, one of the biggest names in the aluminum industry, quietly began to shift in 2025, it didn't just mark a change for one company. It reflected a broader, more significant issue: the profound transformation within American industry. If you haven't heard of Alcoa, you've definitely used products made from their aluminum, from airplanes, refrigerators, and windows to the soda cans you drink from every day. Aluminum is the backbone of the modern world, a crucial material used in countless sectors, from manufacturing and construction to technology. However, by 2025, Alcoa's dominance in the aluminum industry started facing serious challenges. Rising electricity costs, outdated smelting plants that couldn't meet modern demands, and high import tariffs made it difficult for Alcoa to sustain operations in the US. Meanwhile, Canada, particularly Quebec, offered advantages that the US couldn't. Abundant hydroelectric power, lower costs, and clearer regulatory frameworks. As a result, Alcoa gradually decided to shift, not with a sudden breakthrough, but with a slow, strategic transition. Ports in Houston became quieter, while Montreal buzzed with activity, filled with shipments and efficient work shifts. This isn't just Alcoa's story. Industries across the board, from automobiles and electronics to windows and building materials, are feeling this shift. And it's not just the big companies. Even workers, from miners to truck drivers, are starting to lose jobs without understanding why. This change is happening quietly, with no farewell speeches. Every ton of aluminum produced overseas is not just a shift in production, but a crack in the foundation of American industry. It's a sign that this transformation is not only impacting companies, but also the communities and regions that rely on manufacturing industries. Is this a wake-up call for those who still place their trust in traditional American industry? Are we witnessing an inevitable change, where large companies are increasingly turning to countries with lower costs and clearer regulations like Canada? Or can American industry reverse this trend, keep major corporations, and protect the domestic economy despite the challenges posed by costs and policies? Therefore, the question we must ask is, can we adapt to these changes? Or will we face a future where the icons of American industry can no longer hold their place on U.S. soil? General Motors, a symbol inextricably linked to the history of the American industrial sector, has long been a driving force for the economy of this country. It was the heartbeat of cities like Detroit and Flint, where each factory represented a mark of working-class pride. However, by 2025, despite the ongoing demand for automobiles, GM began facing a harsh reality: escalating production costs, disrupted supply chains, and the inability to maintain production as it once did. Once a symbol of prosperity and the manufacturing might of America, GM can no longer produce cars on its own as it once did. The company relies on thousands of parts, many of which come from Canada. When new tariffs were introduced, these parts became significantly more expensive, driving GM's production costs sky high. Unlike raising the price of a soda can, GM cannot easily raise the price of a car. With Americans tightening their belts, selling new cars has become increasingly difficult. So what is GM to do in this situation? They started asking themselves whether there was any reason to remain in the US when Canada offers superior advantages: lower costs, quicker processes, and a more stable environment. This wasn't a sudden decision, but a quiet, strategic shift. GM is gradually expanding operations in Ontario, hiring engineers in Quebec, and increasingly doing less in its US factories. A single drop of water doesn't cause a flood, but in manufacturing, each drop slowly erodes the foundation of the entire industry. When a factory slows down, not only does the company feel it, but the entire community will sense the change. Schools lose students, stores close down, and hope starts to fade. GM hasn't fully left the US yet, but every dollar the company invests in Canada is a dollar less building the future of American industry from home. If even GM, a company considered a symbol of the American working class, is shifting and changing direction, can we not ask ourselves how solid the foundation we stand on really is? Is this shift a major warning for the entire American industrial sector? And if large companies continue to leave, what will be left for the communities and the economy? The questions to consider are: A. Is the shift of GM and other major companies simply a strategic economic change, or a sign of a serious decline in American industry? If you agree, leave A in the comments. B. Or do you think America can still save its industrial sector and the changes are only temporary? If you believe this, leave B in the comments. Share your thoughts and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated on the ongoing transformations in American industry. Tesla is not just an electric vehicle company, but also a symbol of innovation and the American dream of leading the next technological revolution. With breakthroughs in the automotive industry, clean energy, and battery technology, Tesla has proven that America can still be the global center for innovation. However, by 2025, even Tesla is facing a major question. Can the company continue to build its future in the US, where costs are rising and the business environment is becoming more difficult than ever? Unlike traditional car manufacturers, Tesla controls its entire production process, from raw materials, battery manufacturing, to software and solar energy systems. However, this level of control also makes Tesla vulnerable to external factors such as rising electricity costs, outdated infrastructure, and constantly changing policies. While many US states are still struggling with overloaded power grids and skyrocketing energy costs, provinces like Ontario and Quebec are offering a more favorable environment, with stable clean energy prices and a faster, more efficient approval process for environmental policies, as well as easy access to materials. As a result, Tesla's projects in the US are slowing down, while research labs and technology facilities in Canada are accelerating. New facilities are springing up without flashy press releases, simply driven by strategic decisions based on real-world data. This shift isn't only affecting Tesla, but the entire ecosystem surrounding the company. As Tesla shifts direction, its suppliers of robots, AI companies, and tech schools are also following the flow of investment. This is a quiet process, but these decisions have profound impacts on the future of the tech and manufacturing industries. This raises a big question. If the future is no longer being built in the US, what happens to the next generation? If companies like Tesla and other major tech innovators start moving toward other countries, how will the US economy be affected? As countries like Canada increasingly attract tech companies, this could open the door to a new generation of workers ready to tackle future challenges. But can America adapt in time to maintain its position in the global tech race? Will policies and the business environment be strong enough to retain companies like Tesla, or will the US fall behind in an ongoing tech revolution? The questions to consider are: is Tesla's shift, along with other tech companies, a sign that the US is falling behind in the global tech race? If you think so, leave a 1 in the comments. Or do you believe that the US can bounce back, change its policies, and create a business environment that continues to lead in the tech revolution? If you agree, leave a 2 in the comments. Let's engage in the conversation. Share your thoughts, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on the ongoing changes in the tech world. Campbell's Soup, with its iconic red and white label, has long been more than just a familiar meal. It's been an integral part of many American families' childhood memories, especially for working-class families. A warm bowl of soup not only soothes hunger, but also brings a sense of comfort and warmth after a hard day's work. Surely, like you and me, we've all had those moments where, opening a can of Campbell's Soup, we felt the closeness and peace that comes with it, as if it's a part of our family, of our nation. But what you might not realize is that even such simple, familiar foods are now facing profound changes due to major economic shifts. More than 90% of Campbell's products are packaged in aluminum cans, and when the US imposed tariffs on aluminum imports from Canada, Campbell's production costs skyrocketed. They don't produce the aluminum themselves. They buy it from suppliers, and when the price of aluminum increases, all those costs are passed on to the consumer. You can easily imagine that for working-class families who are always watching every penny, even the smallest price increase can be significant. The price of a can of soup going up by just 10 cents might be too much for them to bear. You can feel the tension in every decision Campbell has to make. Raise the price and risk losing loyal customers, or move production to Canada to reduce costs, but face the impact on the community and supply chain. Campbell's decision isn't just about numbers and profits. It's about the relationships within the community. Packing contracts are gradually shifting to Ontario, where production costs are lower and the supply of aluminum is stable. But this is not just a change for one company. It's a quiet transformation in the lives of many people, from suppliers in Ohio to carrot farmers in Michigan. This move hasn't been announced with fanfare, no mass layoffs. But the reality is that each small change will affect the lives of those who have long been tied to this company. And I think, like me, you'll feel the difficulty in saying goodbye to a symbol, even if it's small, but one that's become so familiar. I wonder if even a can of soup, something we've always seen as a symbol of comfort in tough times, has to leave America just to survive. Are we standing on the brink of a silent crisis in American industry? Are these changes a warning for us, those who have always believed in the value of domestic production and the power of brands tied to our culture? So, what do you think about this story? Can we witness changes in long-standing brands like Campbell's without feeling concerned about the future of American industry? Are we letting those core values slip away without even realizing it? Ford, a name synonymous with the American dream, has always been a symbol of upward mobility for the working class and the unstoppable strength of American manufacturing. From the legendary Model T, one of the first mass-produced cars, to the best-selling F-150, Ford has exemplified the power of the U.S. industrial sector for decades. However, by 2025, even Ford, a national pride, is slowly changing direction. A few months ago, Ford announced a $3 billion investment, not in Michigan or Ohio, where the company has been deeply rooted for over a century, but in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. What led to this decision? The answer lies in three key factors: production capacity, costs, and stability. Factories in the U.S. are overloaded, electricity costs are soaring, and the domestic supply chain is increasingly unstable. Meanwhile, Canada, particularly areas like Ontario, offers a more favorable environment with lower production costs, stable clean energy, ample industrial space, and a skilled workforce ready to meet the demand. This does not mean Ford is abandoning the U.S., but rather making a strategic shift, choosing to optimize costs and strengthen its competitiveness in the global market. The $3 billion investment in Canada is not only an economic move, but also a signal of the broader shift in how global companies view the market. Seating manufacturers, tool producers, and logistics companies are also starting to look toward Canada, where production costs are lower and the environment is more stable. Each new assembly line in Canada creates thousands of new jobs, but it could also deprive American workers of those opportunities. This shift is not just about Ford. It has ripple effects throughout the surrounding communities. When large companies like Ford reduce their presence in the U.S., it's not just a business strategy. It's a significant shock to the economy and to the communities tied to the automotive industry for generations. This serves as a lesson not only for companies, but also for the broader community and policymakers. While we know that American industry holds significant power and influence worldwide, it can no longer afford to rest on outdated policies and infrastructure. This is a reminder of the importance of continuous innovation, investment in infrastructure, and education to support a skilled workforce. Is the shift in investment by major companies like Ford a sign of the decline of American industry? Or is it a wake-up call that the U.S. needs to evolve to maintain its global competitiveness? Or do you believe these companies will find ways to maintain growth in the U.S. without moving operations abroad, and that America can still lead the next industrial revolution? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with more fascinating stories and valuable lessons in our upcoming videos.